Chapter 11, A Bath to Die For. The apartment felt colder, or maybe Brian's spine was doing its own winter. He sat rigid on the couch, hands laced, beer untouched, watching the cheap lamp buzz. Mr. B didn't crowd his thoughts so much as seep into them, a fog under the door. "What's the matter, soldier?" The voice curled through his head, amused. "You look like you saw a ghost." Brian's jaw nodded. "What the hell is wrong with you? First Yolanda. Now this?" A lazy little chuckle. "Come on, they already lived in a machine that chews people. I just adjusted the gears." He could feel it, the next confession coiling, ready to strike. "Fine. Say it. Gladly. Let's talk about the caseworker. The approach." She was the one who moved the paperwork that moved the children. The desk, the signature, the chin-lift answer when someone cried too loud. Mr. B never said her name out loud. In his head, she was function, not person. Step 1, knock in daylight. He chose the blue-gray uniform of a gas services inspector, breathable polyblend shirt, laminated ID that would pass at a glance, boots that squeaked exactly twice per walkthrough, clipboard, laser thermometer, coil of orange flexible hose, neatly coiled and clean, professional theater. She opened the door with the distracted half-smile of somebody in the middle of 3 tasks. "Yes? Routine safety check," he said, with the exact amount of impatience a guy on a timed route would have. "Won't take long." She hesitated, then stood aside. The house smelled like citrus cleaner and peach wine. While she answered a call in the hallway, Mr. B's eyes mapped the place with the cold accuracy of a surveyor. Breaker panel in the laundry alcove, HVAC intake above the hallway console table. 2 bathrooms. Hall half bath in the master suite with a deep soaking tub, a slim tankless water heater mounted on the service wall off the kitchen, smart thermostat, smart bulbs, smart speaker in the living room, every convenience she'd never question. He tapped 2 vents, peeked at the water heater flame animation on the tiny screen, asked an innocuous question about last month's bill. She gave short, polite answers, nodded too quickly, an overworked person's tell. She returned to her laptop at the dining table and a glass of wine that matched her nail polish. "Text me if you need a shutoff," she said, not looking up. "Will do," he said, already moving. The refit. Step 2, the plumbing. The tankless heater had a service port and a removable inline strainer. He popped the filter, swapped it with an identical housing that wasn't a filter at all, but a slow-release cartridge of a food-grade hydrocolloid. Perfectly safe in the trace amounts that pass through dish sprayers, but absolutely not safe in bathtub saturation. With hot water flow and agitation, it would bloom into a viscous gel. Not instant, not dramatic. A creeping solidity. The kind that convinces you you're heavy, tired, then trapped. Step 3, the air. He set a small canister, no bigger than a deodorant, inside the return plenum just past the hallway intake. When the system kicked the low fan, the canister would mist a microdose of a legal, commercially available anxiolytic aerosol, sold as an ambient anti-stress scent. Harmless in public spaces. In a closed bathroom with steam, it would soften edges, fog reflexes, make every warning light inside a human brain feel like a distant flicker. Step 4, the current. Bathrooms have GFCIs, but people don't always test them. He loosened a faceplate, added a wafer-thin wireless relay behind the line side, and paired it with a trigger hidden under the bath's underside lip. A magnetized dime of a switch placed where a hand would never brush. The GFCI would still trip at fault, but not before the relay could throw 15 fatal seconds into the water if someone touched the hidden trigger above the tile ledge. 15 seconds long enough to seize, to silence, not long enough to scorch. He would not leave burn marks. He was particular about that. Step 5, the stage. He changed out 2 smart bulbs in the bathroom for lookalikes he'd preloaded with a custom scene. Low amber at the door, soft rose by the tub, a gallery wash dimmer that would paint the tile like evening flesh. He placed a single white gardenia on the marble vanity. He angled the frosted glass nightlight to halo the far wall. Nothing loud, nothing messy. The horror would be the absence of struggle. He left a business card, someone else's logo reprinted with a throwaway number, and thanked her on the way out for her time. She thanked him without seeing him at all. The wait. You always hurry the setup and worship the waiting. Brian could feel the philosophy of it as if Mr. B were reading him a manual. You let the house run its own little script. You listen for it to swallow you. He listened that night from the driver's seat 2 blocks down, rain ticking on the windshield, an earpiece feeding him tiny sounds from a single button mic he'd left beneath the bathroom sink lip. Sticky tabbed and acoustic only. No video, no wiretap. He kept it legal enough to feel invisible. Key events came in like cues. Front door, heels, purse drop, refrigerator seal pop, glass on counter, a second pour, liquid lilt in a rhythm that said she'd forgotten the measure while thinking of the email she had to send at 8:13 p.m. Water lines sang faintly when the tub opened. The tankless hummed. He watched steam condensate on his windshield as if the house were breathing out onto the street. HVAC fan clicked to low. The whisper through his earbud went from dry to cotton soft as the scent system melted the air. He whispered without speaking, "Now, sweetheart. Bath time." The bath. She set her phone on the edge of the vanity and dimmed the lights with her voice, the smart bulbs sliding down to candlelight. Music came softly, some vintage crooner playlist sung like a warm towel. She eased into the water with a sigh that sounded like a peace offering to herself. In the first minute, the tub was just a tub. By minute 4, the hydrocolloid had perfumed the water with an imperceptible drag, like bathing in satin after it rained. By minute 6, the silk thickened into cream. She shifted, curious, amused. New bath additive? Did she pour something earlier and forget? The anxiolytic haze made that last thought feel funny and far away. At minute 8, she tried to lift both arms. The gel kissed back. Soft resistance. Her left hand cleared the surface, then slid back down as if the water wanted her. Her breathing changed. Shorter, higher in the chest. She looked toward the door, said the speaker's name, and asked for brighter light. The bulbs obeyed in the way soft bulbs obey. Rosier, a little bolder, still flattering. She frowned at the surface. It wasn't foam. It wasn't oil. It was the faintly opalescent density of a dessert you had to cut. She set both heels under her and tried to scoot. The gel held her thighs, hips, small of the back. Her shoulders slipped lower. Brian pinched his eyes shut and saw it anyway. The way panic looks ordinary at first, a badly timed shrug, a small laugh, a repeat of a name. "Hello? Hello?" Then the silence when a person listens for rational explanations and finds none. The mic he'd planted was good enough to catch the sound of her hand patting for the rim, fingernails tactile. She reached higher, trying to get leverage on the ledge. The gel climbed her forearms, heavier now, a full-body glove. The anxiolytic mist floated lazy across her face and made the edges of urgency look like round pebbles underwater. She blinked slow. Her hand finally found the tub's underside, curled fingers hunting for purchase, exactly where the magnetized dime waited. She pressed. 15 seconds. Electricity does not dramatize itself. It arrives. It speaks in one verb. Seize. The mic recorded a sound like a breath sucked in and held by an iron hand. Her back arched. Water heaved. A porcelain click rang under it all as one heel struck the drain cover. The GFCI tripped at the end of the relay's allotment, and the house exhaled. Fan soft, music still dumbly crooning through its playlist. Then nothing but the slow, gelatinous lap of the bath, finding level again. Brian gagged dry air like he'd swallowed water. "You killed her." Mr. B's reply came quiet. "The machine did. I designed it." "Monster." "Designer," came the correction. "Don't confuse categories. It's how people get sloppy." The tableau. He waited 9 minutes more, a precise prayer to time. Night gathered its hemline higher along the street. He walked back with a small fabric satchel and the same careless gait you use when you're the kind of worker no one ever looks at twice. Side gate. Kitchen door he'd earlier eased with a strike shaver. Inside, citrus, steam, a hint of ozone pretending nothing had happened. He turned the thermostat up 2 degrees, dry out the mist, and moved through the house with the respectful quiet of a museum guard. The bathroom scene was a study in hush. He tested the air with a handheld. Clear. He killed the water at the undersink stop valves, opened the tiny service cap on the tub overflow, and slid in a clear length of tubing to siphon a few quarts into the toilet, lowering the bath level enough to shape the surface. Then he staged. He moved a standing lamp to throw a spill of warm light across 3 white tiles. He set the single gardenia on the rim, petals pristine, a little splash of white uttered like a word you weren't supposed to say in church. He fanned a silk scarf across the vanity, cut the overhead to the dimmest rose, and breathed once, twice, 3 times into the room. He did not touch her. He did not need to. The gel had turned the water into sculpture, her shoulders and clavicles held in a glassy caul, hair floating in a slow-motion halo, face softened into a sleeping mask by the viscosity. She looked curated, almost devotional, like one of those saint statues in niches that terrify children without knowing why. Brian whispered hoarsely, "Why do you make it pretty?" Mr. B answered without snide this time, "Because they didn't listen to ugly." And the note? On the vanity, a folded, plain half-sheet held down by a bar of hotel soap she must have once pocketed. No handwriting, only a clean, block-printed stamp. Every system has a drain. He wiped what he'd touched with the untraceable wipe he preferred. No ammonia stench, no fiber residue. Then reset the GFCI to its normal face, set the bulbs to their previous scene, clicked the thermostat back, and left the house with the neutral, muted confidence of a man who had nothing worth remembering about him. The debrief. Back on the couch, Brian shook, nails digging crescents into his palms. You're insane!" The laugh was lazy again, almost a yawn. "Now you're angry? Where was this when they smiled at your grief and called it procedure?" "This isn't justice," Brian said through his teeth. "This is you getting off on control. Wrong category again. This is the language the system understands. Consequence. You tried tears. You tried asking nicely. They filed it." Brian folded over his knees, breathing like a bellows. His eyes burned. He stared at his hands like they might still hold a wrench. "Say it's over." "It isn't," Mr. B said softly, "and you know it." Brian drained the beer that had gone warm and flat. Then another. The room tilted a degree. "Tell me the rest," he said, voice low. Mr. B's calm smile slid into place. Felt more than seen. Gladly. A bath to die for. Detective Davies' point of view. The call came in at 4:42 a.m. A domestic noise complaint. Neighbors heard the alarm from a smart thermostat beeping irregularly. No response from inside. Officers arrived, forced entry. Now the house glowed soft and pink under floodlights. Yellow tape fluttered in the breeze like a heartbeat that had forgotten its rhythm. Detective Davy Harrison stepped out of his unmarked sedan, coffee in one hand, notebook in the other. His coat collar was turned up against the drizzle. The air smelled like rain, electricity, and too much perfume. He ducked under the tape. "Bathroom," a uniformed officer said quietly. "You'll want gloves." The house was spotless. Too spotless. Not a sign of struggle, not a thing out of place. The kind of scene that makes your instincts itch. And then Davy saw her. The bathroom scene. The door stood open, steam still faintly clinging to the glass panels. Inside, the air was heavy with humidity and the faint trace of something floral. Gardenia, maybe. The lighting was strange, a pinkish hue bleeding from recessed bulbs. At first glance, it looked like a movie set left running after everyone went home. The woman in the tub was still, not drowned, not burned, suspended. Her body floated just below the surface of something that wasn't quite water anymore, a semi-translucent gel that caught the light like melted glass. Her skin had taken on the same sheen, soft and waxy, untouched by violence, as though the liquid itself had embalmed her in real time. A single flower rested on the rim, unbruised. Davy took a slow step forward. The usual chaos of a homicide scene, splashes, drag marks, the brutal handwriting of panic, was missing. What remained was geometry, deliberate, composed, article. He crouched. His gloved hand hovered an inch from the tub's edge. "What the hell am I looking at?" he muttered. The medical examiner standing near the door shook her head. "Never seen anything like it." The water's congealed. Lab tech says it's some kind of polymer reaction, maybe a contaminant from the plumbing. But look at her, no visible trauma. No bruises, no petechiae. We're running tox now. Davy's eyes caught a detail. On the vanity, a note. Half sheet, folded once, held down by a bar of soap. Plain, white, anonymous. He bent closer, flipping it open with the edge of a pen. The words were printed, not written. "Every system has a drain." He stared at it for a long time. No signature, no fingerprint, just that message. And the gardenia, white, perfect, a symbol of purity or mockery. Davy exhaled through his teeth. "Get me a print lift on the soap wrapper. Every inch of this place, power outlets, HVAC vent, under the sink, the water heater line, everything." A forensics tech nodded. "Already on it." He stepped back, scanning the floor. Not a drop of blood, not a hair. Whoever did this hadn't rushed. They'd known the layout, the lighting, the tools. They'd wanted the result to be seen this way. He looked back at the body frozen mid-luxury, her face calm, almost serene. "This wasn't murder," he said softly. "This was a message." The analysis. Hours later, the precinct lights buzzed faintly overhead as Davy replayed the body cam footage frame by frame on his monitor. The gel shimmered in the low light, thickening second by second. He watched his own gloved hand reach for the note again, saw his fingers hesitate like they belonged to someone else. He scribbled in his notebook. "Polymer composition, unknown. Air mist, possible aerosolized sedative. Electrical burn pattern, minor, GFCI tampering likely. Lighting, modified, intentional hue. Note, printed message, identical font to previous case." He tapped the last bullet twice with the end of his pen. "Every system has a drain." The phrase itched somewhere in his memory. He'd seen the same structure before. Simple, cold, deliberate. The judge's crime scene, the typed message in the clerk's house, the lawyer's final footage, each one clinical, detached, like someone documenting their own work.